Okay, so we're here with Tim Liggins at Powerhouse Gym, Fenton, Michigan. Tell us a little bit about your competition history, Tim, for the past few years.
Well, 2012 was my first year back competing. I had a few years off, and so took my time coming back and really got myself back to a good level. And so started really preparing to come back on stage in 2012, back in the summer of 2011. So hooked up with a good friend of mine, IFBB pro Ken Jackson, and so we started training together and really getting myself ready for the 2012 season. So I did a couple of state level shows and requalified for nationals, and then ended up competing in November at nationals last year. So went really well. It was a huge show. I was in the heavyweight class. I think I had about 40 competitors or so, and I was in the top 7. And really brought my best overall package. So I was excited about that, especially after having such a long layoff. So it really got me motivated to come into 2013 and do really well.
So what's your current height and weight, buddy?
I'm 5'8", and right now I'm about 219, 220.
Okay, and you're getting ready for Masters Nationals?
Yes, Masters Nationals, about 4 weeks out.
Okay, and you'll be doing the 35 and over, just so people realize you're
not. Masters, time flies. I'm 35 and I'm a Masters now. So, but that's okay. I'm gonna say I'm a young 35 since I took a few years off. But I'm excited. It should be a big show. I think a lot of the guys that are in the Open that happen to be 35 that have done really well at the other pro qualifiers will be there. So I'm expecting it to be a really great competition.
Okay. Now today you warmed up with chest, bud, and then you did an arms workout. I'm going to have you tell us what movements you did and what you like about each movement.
Sure. For me, as I get closer to the competitions, I try to break up the workouts a little bit more. So today I ended up doing kind of a bis and tris combination. And for me, it's a Sunday, so a lot of times it's an off day. But as I get close to competitions, I'll do extra stuff. And so started out with just kind of warming up the joints. So I did a couple just pressing chest movements, not really to train chest specifically, but I like to do that just because it warms up my shoulders, warms up my elbows, and just kind of gets the blood flow. But started out with tris today, switched it up. A lot of times I do bis, but I started with tris today. And so went with some triple drop set cable pushdowns, and doing it from each drop a slightly different angle, just hits the muscle from a different angle. So as I drop the weight, I also change the angle, and I like the rope because I like the freedom of the movement. And as I come down, I can really squeeze and get a good pump. So love that movement. I love to start with it as well because it just gets a lot of blood into the muscle, and which is what I'm trying to do, particularly on this kind of a week where I'm doing a lot of drop sets. From there, we went into some machine pushdown, kind of a dip machine. Again, just trying to pump a lot of blood into that. Today was all about drop sets, and so I wasn't so concerned with tremendous amount of weight, but I wanted to make sure that I was getting a lot of reps and squeezing really hard. So I like that movement just because for me, and some of the injuries that I've had in the past, I'll do dips, free weight dips, or body weight dips rather, from time to time. But the stability of that machine really allows me to really squeeze and focus on my triceps without worrying about some of the injuries that I've had in the past. And then from there, finished up with some cable extensions, one-arm cable extensions. Sometimes I'll do kickbacks, dumbbell kickbacks. Today I did the cables. At this point in the workout, I'm really just trying to squeeze and just get as much blood in the muscle as possible. Just alternating arms back and forth, so no rest periods, just going back and forth, and the rest is just when I'm doing the opposite arm. And so move through that pretty quickly. And so at this point, my rest periods are getting shorter and shorter, really trying to keep my heart rate up and just stay, keep blood in the muscle, stay warm, and keep sweating. And so that worked out well today. After that, we went into some biceps. Started out with some drop sets, another triple drop set for alternating dumbbell curls. It's a really basic movement, but again, when you start doing drop sets, it's not so much about weight, but again, once that first set comes and you get that rush of blood in there, it's just about up and squeezing every single rep out of it. So go down the rack one time and you feel it. So a couple sets of those, and that's really all I need. But it's a great way to start out a bicep workout because of the fact that it does allow me to warm up so fast and get a lot of blood in the muscle.
Now with this movement, but I noticed you're not going crazy on weight or anything. You're just just keeping good form and a lot of reps. So.
Yeah, and for me, I think over the years too, I mean, I found that if I'm a little more strict with the movement and I'm concentrating on really connecting with the muscle and not so much just about moving it from point A to point B, I'm getting better results. And I mean, training as heavy as possible, and there's certain kind of principles that a lot of guys believe in. But for me, if I'm not connecting with the muscle first and foremost, I'm using the weight as a tool to train the muscle to get the result that I want. So it's not so much about if I can lift X number of pounds in any particular movement if I'm not feeling it or if I'm feeling it in the wrong area. So it's just something that over the years I've really believed to be true for my body, and it has allowed me to get the best results. And so I don't necessarily feel like I need to go extremely heavy. And at this even at this point in the prep, I'm not one that believes in you need to go lighter and lighter as you get into the shows. So this might be the weight I would use in the off season. So it's not so much that I'm lightening up the weight. I'm just making sure that I'm connecting with the muscle at all times. That's the number one priority.
I gotcha. What was your next movement, bud? I'm sorry.
After that, we did a drop set of some close grip easy bar curls. And so really close grip today and really tight elbows, really tight to the sides. And so felt those. That was great. That was one that I hadn't thrown in several weeks. So throwing that in was nice, a nice change of pace. And again, with that really strict movement, keeping the elbows really tight, keeping the tension constantly on the biceps, never letting yourself go down and rest too much, and never coming up too high, but basically staying right in that pocket to keep tension, constant tension on the muscle, just allow it to stay full and pump the whole time. And then a drop set. That drop set, sometimes I'm a bit slower with the movement, squeezing a little bit harder, even a little bit more controlled than the initial one. And so again, it's another great movement that I always get good results from. And then we finished up with some cable curls. And so this is just one that I like to do. Again, it's not a very heavy movement, but it's a great finisher, just because it allows me to stretch all the way out and then come up and squeeze and peak the biceps. And so it's just one that I always like to finish with. And there's different versions of it, but today we did both arms at the same time. And so again, move through the bicep workout just as quickly as we did the tricep workout, really short rest periods. And it's something that has really been beneficial for me in this prep.
So with going into Masters, but now I know you did have, I wanted to have you talk about this a little bit. You had a scare in February with, it was a rotator cuff possible injury, or?
Yeah, I had a good off season. As hard as I worked to get back on stage in 2012, I went right into the off season and had more structure in my diet and training than probably I'd ever had coming right off a show. So it was things were going really well, coming into the new year. And so just had an injury doing it was a chest and tricep workout, but tricep movement, and just kind of felt a pop in the shoulder. And so had some tests done, and initially didn't find anything, but ended up getting a second opinion, and there was a slight tear in the rotator cuff. And so I was concerned, obviously, because I wasn't sure how bad and what type of rehab I was going to need to do. And as it turned out, essentially I started rehabbing, and when I was able to actually start training, although pretty light, was also right when I started my prep. So I've been kind of rehabbing and prepping for this competition at the same time. And so, but going into it, if I didn't feel like I could put 100% into it, I would have, had to reconsider the plans. But I felt good, and each week I'm feeling better and better, and I feel like at 4 weeks out, I'm in a position to bring my best practice to the stage, in this next competition. So, as long as I feel like I'm able to put all the effort and training and focus into a show, then I feel good about what result I can have.
Now, what's your diet like going into the show, bud? Are you do you get carbs, or no carbs, or what's your nutrition like?
Well, my carbs are always pretty moderate and to low. I mean, I've never needed a ton of carbs to stay full, and so right now my carbs they've been a little bit lower. I mean, I'm always under 150 grams of carbs for the most part. I mean, we may play around a bit and have a couple of days where we cycle and go up a little bit just to see how I feel out, and so obviously those days, feeling a little bit fuller, having a little bit more energy, but for the most part, I've been able to to keep the carbs pretty steady and keep them at a pretty moderate pace for me anyway, a moderate amount rather for me, and kept that pretty consistent most of this prep and gotten results from that. So, last year we kind of found a pretty good blueprint for me getting in shape, but at the same time staying full enough. And so, really repeating that for the most part and just paying close attention to my body and trying a couple new things, but not getting too crazy with it just because we've had some good results from last year.
Well, good deal, bud. You look amazing. You look like you're in great condition, and look forward to seeing you on stage, man.
Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to it too, and I'm excited about chasing this pro card, and I feel like I got a good chance this year.
Okay, anyone you'd like to thank, bud?
Yeah, of course. I always have a great bodybuilding team. So I have, like I mentioned, a good friend of mine, IFBB Pro Ken Jackson, has really been a good friend of mine, helping me with this prep, and Brian Thompson, a good friend of his, a great bodybuilder out of Michigan too. Back in Kalamazoo, a good friend of mine, Lucian Gastier, he's a national level guy getting ready for North Americans. Training partner LeVar Brown. We don't train together anymore, but because he's out of town, but he's been a great help. Of course, the great Jeff Sligo. He's doing a video right now. But I always appreciate your support, appreciate the opportunities you give all the Michigan bodybuilders, really, and now really throughout the country. But it's just one of those things where you have so many people in the gym that even if it's in passing, just say something positive to you or ask you about how you're doing. It's like, however you can get motivation for that day, it's just the smallest thing sometimes of support just kind of spur you on. So, anybody that's wishing me well and encouraging me, and even those that don't encourage me, still encourage me in that way as well, to be the best I can be. So I appreciate all of it.